We're a group of Gen Xers learning about our ADHD and neurodiversity later in life. Join us as we discuss interesting clips we find online and how they relate to our own life experiences. Welcome to This Is How My Brain Works. All right. Recording is in progress. That means we are recording another episode of This Is How My Brain Works. How is everyone doing today? I'm Michael, joined by Krista, Sarah, and Jason. We are, as the intro said, Gen Xers who were diagnosed late in life or self-diagnosed, or I don't know. Something's going on with our brains. And we started just passing around these clips online, and that resonated with us, and we decided, hey, let's incorporate that into the show. And a clip that I chose this a while ago, and I'm not really quite sure how it ends. So I'm as excited as everyone else to watch this. ADHD kids share their experiences with meditation.
Part of what we're doing, we're going to teach kids who have ADD to meditate and see how it helps them. Mm-hmm. And so I want to get a sense of how ADD affects you. So, you have ADD?
Yes.
You know you got it?
Yes.
Okay. How can you tell?
Well, when I get frustrated, I get overly frustrated sometimes. When I can't do my work, I shut down too easily, and I sometimes just have problems overall working and just keeping my anger under control.
I can't all sit straight, sit there for a while and not fidget, and I can't concentrate for a long time, and I can get distracted easily.
Sometimes it's harder for me to read and pay attention in class.
Okay. And is that true at home too, or when you're trying to do homework, or?
Yeah, trying to do homework is kind of tough too.
Well, let me ask you about, do you know what stress is?
Yes.
When you feel stress, pressured, or tense?
I have a lot. I always have a lot.
A lot of stress?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that. When do you feel stressed? How do you feel stressed?
It's mostly when I'm doing homework. Like I said, when I do something wrong, I could say I'm a lean, mean stress machine. It's helped me with my schoolwork, not getting as frustrated with my friends, and just not getting so angry with my parents, doing my homework better, not getting into so much fights at school, not getting people angry and stuff like that.
It's kind of easier for me to focus and concentrate my energy on one thing than going and trying to work on one thing and then fidgeting and trying to stop that and then listen to the teacher at the same time.
I'm much more calmer now than I used to be, and less hyper, and much more mature than I was. And now they want, all my friends want me to come over their house.
Well, I don't stress as much anymore, unless it's with my friends or whatever, but I don't stress that much anymore, so I'm basically, what it's doing is it's making me be able to focus so I'm not under stress.
Makes me a lot more confident in myself, because then I know that if I can't get a few things, I don't need to get stressed out about it. I just need to take a little time, go to something else, and then come back to it and work on it.
It's working, it's improving their lives, it's improving their sense of self. It's empowering them. I mean, I can say that over and over again, but I really do see it making a big difference. And I think that their futures are going to be so much brighter because of it.
All right. That will all be
It's
clean.
too bad that when we were that age, no one said, hey, let's here's some tools to help you with your your anxiety and your hyperactivity and I only learned in the last 10 years how to somewhat manage you know, the anger sometimes, the overstressing, the undue stress we put on ourselves. You know, we talk about, you know, being in a group or being, you know, meeting someone for the first time. We're putting undue stress on ourselves trying to figure out who they are, what they do, or, you know, all of a sudden the stress starts to mount, or just learning to say, it's okay. You may be 5 minutes late if traffic's bad, where before I'd stress out forever. And yoga, learning to breathe and trying to take a minute, because we're so impulsive and sometimes things come out and we don't even think, you know, and if we had just had the ability to stop for 1 minute and think before we said some things, you know, we'd be a lot better off in situations. And I'm just learning that now as an adult, how to deal with that.
I mean, that's
honestly.
the first thing that was really impressive to me was with how those kids articulated what they were feeling, what they were going through, you know, their self-awareness, and how, I mean, I don't know that I could have maybe said, like, I get nervous before if I get called on to read in class, you know, or it takes me a long time to do my homework or whatever. But these guys were talking about just, they really were able to articulate their experience in a way that I was blown away by. And then
Sure.
to have this experience, so what the slide that came up said, after 3 months of TM meditation, transcendental meditation, so 3 months, so they learned this practice of, Rudy, like you're saying, of breathing, of taking a pause. If it, like, so we're all reading a paragraph, you know, I'm in the 3rd grade. I don't like, you know, it takes me a long time to read. And now all I'm paying attention to is, where are we in the order, and when is it going to be my turn, and where's my paragraph that I have to read? Let me read that a bunch of times because I don't want to look like an idiot. And then as I'm reading it, I'm panicking. Like I'm so afraid I'm going to mess up and look stupid. And get through that. And if I was able to, like, incorporate some breathing into, I'd calm myself down, you know, and
Michael, I have to tell you, so during Passover, you read the Haggadah, okay? And for years and years and years, we'd have anywhere from 10 to 20 people over for the first Seder. And we'd read from the Haggadah. And everyone would read from the Haggadah. But the paragraphs, some are, you know, some are a sentence, maybe 2 sentences. Some are a whole thing, right? So exactly the same thing, Michael. I would, because you go around the table. I didn't know who was going to skip. I learned that my grandmother never wanted to read. She's like this, I'm going to skip. So after years, we just knew she would skip. So that was one I could just put aside. But I would count people off. But then you know, there'd be like a little paragraph, right? And I already counted which paragraph should be mine. This one should be mine. So, you know, and I had a hard time with species and spices. Like, you know, little things are omnipresent, or omnipotent, or, you know what I mean? Like those little kind of crazy words. And inevitably someone would read an extra paragraph because they only had a little one. So they're like, should I continue? And, you know, please, yes, read the next paragraph. And
someone who likes to read in front of people.
Oh no. And then I'd be like, I don't know what to do. Like I would start to sweat because, and the same thing in school, there was a fear of reading in front of people. Just a fear of reading in front of people. Was I reading the words, you know, correctly? Was I too choppy? Was it, you know, how are they going to perceive the way I'm reading? Will I look dumb? Will I look smart? Will I look, you know, unintelligent? What is it? What is it going to be? And so I need to know what that paragraph is I'm going to read.
Yeah.
And I just learned, it was the one thing so funny. It was never the same paragraph. And it was never, I could never count 3 people ahead. Even the person next to me, you know, you try and get a little ahead, like just read that one little piece and then I'll take over. You know, it was not like that. And it scared me so much to read in front of people. How are they going to perceive it? What do I look like as I'm reading? Oh, the worst. The worst. That was the biggest fear. One of my biggest fears, being called on to read something.
Well,
I
Chris
have
and
to-
Sarah apparently enjoy reading in front of people.
I do. I don't mind it at all. I could do it all day long. Seriously, I love reading to people. I'm a good
Cold reading?
I'm a good, yeah, good cold
Okay.
reader. So that's not that, but that doesn't mean that there's not other things that I, you know, for me, it was math. For me, it was like being called up to the board to do a math problem. Like, oh my God, you know, just like made me, especially algebra, which is like made up numbers. Like, come on, why are we solving for a letter? It's not, shouldn't be there. Like, I just know. But so we all have those things. I guess my question is, I want to come back to the meditation, and because I've heard these types of studies forever. I know, like, Sarah does the yoga and the things, and I've definitely have times in my life where I've done lots of yoga, and other times where I haven't. And for me, I find meditation to be really hard on my brain. Like, I don't like, I want to do lists. I want to move. I want to do other things. I can't, you know, the only reason why I think I was successful at hot yoga for a while when I did it is because I just was trying to not die in class. And so that superseded the thinking. So that seemed to work. But meditation for me is really, I don't know. I'm impressed with these kids and with someone who was able to sit down and teach them how to do it. Because, I mean, I was the person that when someone tried to teach me how to hypnotize myself for birth, I literally was like, no. I mean, like, I tried it, and like halfway through, the lady's like, so you feel things, but they don't hurt. And I was like, this is a lie. This is a lie. I don't like it. Like, I am not, like, my brain does not work that way. So how do you, if you all do it as spicy humans, actually sit and meditate? I don't understand.
I don't have the patience. I am one of the most impatient people. My brain is going so quickly. And it's really the only time that I cannot. There is no way I have the patience. Sarah, you mentioned a while back taking, what was it, a half hour, or you took like I mean, you really did. I mean, I can't sit, and you're right, Krista, the yoga is the only time I can connect with myself, because I am so focused on just breathing and trying to stay focused in hot yoga, or I'm going downhill. So that's the only time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I have learned how to not get upset or put undue stress on myself. I have not. I'm trying, and I'm trying to take a moment sometimes to breathe, but because my brain is constantly spitting stuff out, you know, it's very difficult for me to take that moment and say, I'm, you know, 7 breaths in, 7 out, you know, now speak. There's no way. There's no way. And I don't have the patience to sit for 10 minutes and do a meditation.
So Sarah, who is successful,
you do, Sarah.
Teach us, Sarah.
Everything you just said, the only way that your sentence makes any sense, Rudy, because I'm just gonna be a bitch, you don't have the patience yet. You don't start meditating for 30 minutes. You start
of course
at 2 minutes. And so here, this is literally how it works. You start, and all you try to do is take the deep breaths in and the deep breath out. And the minute that your brain wanders, you go, oh, like Michael said in previous episodes, look at that part of me that's so distractible. My brain just wandered. Observe it, and then try to come back to deep breath in. Don't let me finish. I'm not going to.
Yeah. No. I just have one question about it.
Okay.
No. When you do this meditation, do you do it with like a guided, like people are talking to you, or just?
I've done both. I will say that using a guided person first can be helpful, particularly maybe for Krista, who has such an expansive and colorful mind palace. So I think that probably means that you have the ability to picture things vividly in your head. So if you had someone telling you, picture a beach, picture the waves lapping up and back and up and back, and now picture, you know, sand getting in your bikini, and you kind of wiggle it out and then breathe again. Not that they would ever do that. That would be hell fun. But what I'm saying is, it's literally, you are allowed to, and I will get to you, Rudy. I see you. Bite that finger. You got this. Put your hand in your mouth all the way down. Pretend to be frozen again. I liked when you did that earlier. That was funny. And you saw no one was paying attention, and you were like, okay, fine. I won't be. Look at, he's really frozen. But so you breathe in, you breathe out, you get distracted, you observe the distraction, and you go, okay, back to the breathing. And you maybe do it for 2 minutes. You set a timer for 2 minutes, and that's it. Maybe the next day, maybe for a whole week, you just do 2 minutes. Then the next week, it's 3 minutes, and then 5. And I promise you, because everybody's brain, if you can do yoga and the heat is tricking you into breathing, you also can train yourself to be patient. And Rudy, almost most specifically to you, because you have said that in the last 10 years or in this journey, you have gotten to where you actually do breathe for a second before you say something or react. You do listen to that wise Rudy on your shoulder, but you didn't used to. How have you started doing that? Baby steps. You're not going to meditate for 30 minutes the first time, probably not even 10. That's a long time. But I literally started for a month. And by the end of the month, it was like no problem to meditate for a whole hour. In fact, the other day I was at the park. I know it seems crazy, but it hurts. Like these kids are talking. You saw the one kid, Chris and I both reacted to the kid who's like, now my friends invite me.
My friends, and now everybody wants me to come over to their house.
Yeah, because he got and I promise it wasn't easy at first. And maybe it's the type that you've tried that isn't working. So Jason, Rudy, Rudofsky, what would you like to say? Sorry.
Okay, listen. Are you familiar with Wes Anderson, the filmmaker? I love his films. He just won for Best Short. If you haven't seen the short, you have to see it. The short is about, and it's Ben Kingsley who plays a man who over time was able, although he was blindfolded, could see. How? Because he would concentrate on one thing for a minute. Then he would learn to concentrate, hyper focus on only that thing for 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 4 minutes. And over time, it's a great short. You've got to find it. It could be on Netflix, and I can't remember the name of it, but Cumberbatch, you know, that guy's in it. But it's all about what we're talking about. Focusing and stopping your brain and only focusing on one thing and doing it longer each day, and to a point where he was blind but could see.
It's a muscle.
It's a muscle. And he trained, and I'm just telling you, it's a 40-minute short. You'd love it.
I just wrote it down.
The Oscar. But it's exactly what we're talking about.
Is it the rat catcher?
What is it?
Is it the rat catcher or Poison? Those are 2 shorts he did. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
Oh, Henry Sugar. Henry Sugar.
The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Okay.
The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. You'll be fascinated by it, because then Henry Sugar has to learn, and over time he does it. He only hyper focuses on something and trains his brain to see when blindfolded, and could do anything because he was he trained his brain.
I mean, like
exactly what this is.
As
but
Sarah,
you're right. It is baby steps, and I'm not completely, devoid of the ability. It's just that those things are so difficult for me. And like the kid was saying in the video, just to sit still for X amount of time. And that's why I was never a great reader. I wasn't able to read books a lot. The attention span was.
I don't know. I also think sitting still in a classroom and trying to teach kids the way is a very, from a historical standpoint, is a very new model of the way we live in a world. I mean, we usually live in a world where there's like horseback riding, catching things, doing things. This idea that you're just supposed to go sit for 8 hours and and the only time you move is to like go to wash your hands at prescribed periods of time during the day.
Yeah.
And then you've got kids who, when they're who might be fidgeting so much that the teacher is taking away their recess as punishment. I mean, this is not the way we were built either as humans to walk through that education system.
Not good for anybody. And then especially, the ADHDers or the attention, holding focus for a while is tough. And I think my experience with meditation is that I didn't realize until fairly recently that I had some introverted qualities, and the idea that you needed to go remove yourself from the situation, go recharge, be by yourself and recharge. I would just go, from wake up to go to bed, and I would just burn myself out. I would push through things just out of sheer like determination of like, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. And I'm wearing myself out. So this idea of recharging and just stepping away from a situation is kind of new to me, and it feels good to be able to like take a little breaks here and there. And even that I think can be meditative, but there, like Rudy, what you're saying is not uncommon as far as like, I can't sit there and sit still and not have a ton of thoughts. There are different types of, I mean, what Sarah described is great, and it is, yeah, it's like the muscle, and that is absolutely helpful. And there are other types of meditation, like sensory meditation, just going on a walk outside and noticing the sights and sounds and smells, and just really hyper focusing on all those things. And that's not as daunting of a prospect. Just sitting quiet somewhere for,
No, we used to have a cabin. We used to have a cabin in Fairplay, and I kid you not, my whole demeanor changed. I loved driving to Fairplay 285. And as soon as I got to E470, C470, whatever, right there at the hogback, and you start up the canyon, my whole demeanor changed. For me, it was meditation. That entire drive to Fairplay, the amount, and just being in Fairplay for a night, or even if it was just to go up and then to come right back, that was meditation for me. Driving, I find very meditative for me. I love road trips, my kids don't love them so much, but it's just being in a different place and not being surrounded by all the concrete and the traffic, and just having a Sunday morning drive up 285 to Fairplay on a summer morning is fills me up for weeks. You know what I mean? That's where I find some of my meditation is just, and I find it on the golf course too. Playing golf or working on the golf course for me is very meditative.
Another way that I was realizing as you were saying what you said, Michael, that one of the things, my first entree into meditation was Thich Nhat Hanh's The Miracle of Mindfulness and washing the dishes. And I said, oh my gosh. So he says, while washing the dishes, one should only be washing the dishes, which means that while washing the dishes, one should be completely aware of the fact that one is washing the dishes. So the temperature of the water, the way that the soap feels, the stuff on the plates or the dishes that you've got. And just and anytime your mind wanders to like, what do I need to do next? Say, no, I'm going to be present in this moment. It's much like what you're describing when you're on a drive. It's the 5 senses, or 6 if you believe in them, of being completely present and feeling and sensing all the things around you at that moment. So maybe, quiet meditation isn't the way that you start. And I realized I didn't start that way. I started just by washing the dishes. And anytime I would do it, I would be very sincere and mindful about just washing the damn dishes.
How about chewing your food? Like you're supposed to chew 20 times every bite, and you're supposed to sense everything before you swallow
Another great way.
every time. I can do it once, and then I'm like, I don't have the patience for this.
I do one thing because I want to be. It's sort of like a PSA. If you are a parent with a child who has been diagnosed with any of this neurospicy stuff, and you do not have on an IEP 504, whatever they call it in your state, something that says that they are not allowed to take away recess, you need to get that on there right now. Have a doctor say it, whatever you got to do, because taking recess as a punishment away from a kid who needs to go out and get the wiggles out is about the worst thing you could possibly do. And once it's on an IEP or 504, they are legally obligated to provide that service. So do yourself and your kids a favor, and honestly, the staff, and make sure that kid is out at recess every day.
I'm going to second what Krista just said. I got that for my kids on their IEPs, and it was
Yeah.
We have about 2 minutes and 48 seconds left, guys.
Well,
good video, Michael. You got everybody. You didn't get to say anything. We all got so excited.
it was fantastic. I mean, I was just so, I think when I saw that, just so touched by these kids having access to that type of awareness of themselves, and then get the opportunity to get these tools that we just didn't really get when we were that age. So I'm glad that it's really is heartening to see that they're not going to kind of have to like struggle through decades of like, I wonder why I get so frustrated here, or I wonder why I avoid these situations or whatever. But it really is, I mean, come a long way as far as just what they know about neurodiversity and the brain, and more to go. But I just thought that we play a lot of clips with people that we identify with as adults, but I wanted to go back to those and just see those kids and just see what we all thought. I think we all kind of went back in time a little bit, but and now that Rudy's going to be meditating, I think we can expect big things from him. And namaste.
Namago.
I actually want to say, Sarah, to what you said. I actually can't meditate with people talking. The whole time I sit there and go like, really, you're gonna say it like that?
Oh,
It's
good.
a huge judging thing.
I hate it too. That's why I don't.
So I do like the.
Have you done sound baths?
ASMR. Sound baths are great.
What
On
are sound
YouTube.
baths?
Just go to
Oh,
YouTube.
I'm looking at.
Put up a sound. So when I'm working, I'll just put a sound bath on in the background, and just work. And my sister used to listen to music when we were going to bed, and I would literally not be able to fall asleep because I would sing along to every song. And I would beg her, please, can we not? And she would fight and be like, no, I have to have it to go to sleep. And I was like, I can't have it. It just keeps me awake.
That's brutal.
Same as you with the meditation.
Gong bath is another good one.
Oh, is that
What? Gong bath?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at
Just certain frequencies that just go through your body, and
yeah, you can search up the
Figure out.
frequency. So I particularly 432.
432.
It's
Okay.
really
All
fun.
right.
All right. Well, thank you, folks, for tuning into another round of This Is How My Brain Works. If you like it, please pass it on. For Rudy, Sarah, and Krista, I'm Michael, and we hope you tune into the next one. Take care. If you like this episode of This Is How My Brain Works, please like, subscribe, and share. For more info on today's clip, the hosts, and our podcast, check out the show notes. Thanks for listening.